Hello.
Hello.
How are you? This feels so weird.
Good.
This is literally you're the first people I've got a face-to-face interview with in 5 months.
Oh, what
That's
an honour!
exciting. I know, it's an honour.
It's not the same as soon. I'm coming to wear pants and stuff.
Yeah.
But what a pleasure. Here we are in the
I know, in a lovely beer garden in Vauxhall.
It's quite salubrious, isn't it?
brand new garden theatre of the Eagle.
Exactly.
It's gorgeous, and what a gorgeous little venue it is.
With its debut production, Fanny and Stella.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. For anybody who has, how have you been selling it? To people who don't know anything about it.
How have we
How
been
have we
selling
been selling
We
it?
haven't
It's been
had
selling
to.
very well.
We haven't had
Exactly.
to.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fanny and Stella.
We are. We play for I play Stella. You play
And I
Fanny.
play Fanny, yes.
For Fanny and Stella fame. So it's a true story about a Victorian cross-dressing performer duo who get arrested for conspiring to sodomy. And the show basically follows their trial, it follows their love triangles, and it follows their friendship, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And I think it showcases the wonderful relationship that they had together with other people, also the difficulties that brings together. There's a lot of drama in relationship, which I'm sure a lot of people today can relate to as well. And yeah, they were arrested for dressing as women.
I think what's amazing as well is because they are trailblazers. So these are real
It was
characters.
like in 1871, wasn't it?
It was.
1871,
And yeah, these people are real characters, and they were trailblazers for the gay and gender fluid, as we know it today, community.
Yeah.
And they got off. They were found innocent, and that's kind of a total breakthrough for the time that it happened in.
And it's a great piece of history that is also told through brilliant musical theatre show busyness.
Yeah.
And also, even though, like we say, it is 1871, it deals with a lot of issues that we are still talking about today: gender identity, and many other things, and things within the gay community. And I think that makes it a very relevant piece to this very time.
Yeah.
Well, there's a line in there, isn't there, about, it won't take another 100 years to...
Yeah, it won't take another century for things to change. And
Right, well.
obviously there's always sort of a bit of a macabre laugh that sort of ripples through the audience at that point, because there is a lot of relevance that to it today.
And for you guys, so this is, you're being thrown in, how long did you have to rehearse it?
A week.
A week, yeah.
A whole week.
Monday
to
to
learn-
Saturday.
Wow.
to learn it, because Mark, who plays Mr. Grimes and others, has done the show before,
Yeah.
and he is fantastic. But
Yeah.
the other 5 performers all learn it from scratch,
Yeah.
and this is quite a different version of any production of Fanny and Stella that's occurred before. It's condensed, obviously. It's outdoors, and so there's a million other things that we had to contend with. So not only were we recreating the show, we were also learning it and trying to get it to a performable standard in a week.
Yeah, and what was amazing about being in that room, especially after the 5 months of lockdown and like very little creative stuff going on, was number one, the amazing thing it did for certainly my mental health, and I'm sure everybody else's, that we were doing something creative, and we feel very lucky to be able to do that. And also being surrounded by performers that, yes, it was a bit of a shock to the system to go straight back into it, but it was amazing to see these people creating, picking up lines, choreography, direction, and this whole show came together essentially like that, and we all clicked as a company, as a creative team, and the work just came easily. It was hard work, and we all worked hard, but in terms of the dynamic of a rehearsal room, it was brilliant, supportive, and we all gelled.
And I think we were all very aware. You're absolutely right. I think we are so lucky to have just an amazing cast and creative team that just get on really well, and we bounce off each other really well. But I think we're all really aware as well that, I say it's not about the show. Of course, it's a wonderful show, and we want the show to be great, and I believe it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's so much more than that. It's actually about the fact that there is a group of people who have gone against the odds right now and got some kind of live theatre on, and that's what's so much more important right now. And yeah, for me, and I'm sure for you as well, Kane, it's just a privilege to be able to be performing.
100%, and with other venues around the country, and in fact I would say pretty much every venue is going through such a difficult time at the moment. The team that have put this together have had to look at other places that are outdoors, that follow the guidelines, and here we are, sat in this brand new venue that has been created, like Jed says, against all odds.
Yeah.
And I just hope, and I know we all do, that we hope this will bring more ideas and more venues around the idea of going, well, maybe we could do that. And maybe it's a fully staged musical like this, or maybe it's just outdoor concerts and gigs, or a one-woman, one-man show.
Yeah.
And we're so privileged, and I hope this is the start of something great.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like we're anything that should be idolised at all. It feels like we are merely the starting point for the industry to go, right, okay, let's do it, let's make it bigger, let's make it better.
100%.
Because this is the reality for the foreseeable
now,
future,
yeah.
and not forever, but for the foreseeable. And how are we going to make it work? We are a resourceful industry, and I think it's the beginning of a really exciting time, to be honest.
And this venue and this pub have been so wonderful to us and so wonderful to work with, and we're all bouncing off each other's energy and going, like, we're thrilled to be doing a show and thrilled to be in a lovely place, and they're thrilled to have us here.
Yeah.
And we're all working together in this way that this now feels like and is a fringe venue.
Yeah.
And if you were here 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't have known that. You wouldn't have known that, and it's wonderful.
And how is it for you looking out at the audience and seeing, because everybody has to wear their mask for the full performance, and obviously there's parts within the show where you engage with the audience. How is that, to not be able to fully see? Can you tell whether they're smiling behind the mask?
You can. This is the thing, you've got a fly in your hair.
Have I?
You've got a fly in your hair.
Go away! Be gone!
I've worked on comedy shows before, and there is that, sometimes you have a quiet audience and they say, well, you can't hear a smile. But actually now, I think I'm taking that back, you actually can, and you definitely come out, and I think the audience, just as much as we were 2 weeks ago, are really apprehensive about what they're going to, how it's going to be as an audience member, what kind of show they're going to see, and within 5-10 minutes you feel people really warming up and really getting on board, and they're masked, but I actually think that's not a hindrance at all. I think it's the thing that makes us feel safe, it makes them feel safe, and you can still enjoy theatre with a mask on.
And you can see in people's eyes when they're enjoying something, and you can. And I also wondered, I was thinking this when we were doing the show last night, is we sometimes use people in the audience as reference for other characters that we're talking about, and you see people's eyes and eyebrows go, and I wonder if they're also conscious of going, well, they can't see me smile, so I'm doing a bit of a bigger face, and it's really lovely. And yes, people may be apprehensive about coming into an environment after lockdown, etc. But what so many people have been saying is, like Jed says, the masks make them feel safe, they make us feel safe. What the venue are doing to bring people in, the temperature checks, the track and trace, the hand sanitizers, people being seated at, sort of in an order rather than just what used to be you go into the theatre all at once. Yeah. And once they feel safe about that, then they see the first 5-10 minutes of the show and they're relaxed. I feel we have a great environment, and it's so intimate.
Well, I think what you said about it's an audience entering a new environment is really accurate, because it's not you buy your ticket, you go sit in the stalls, you enjoy the show, you leave, and there's a big disconnect. We as the performers are as much part of the whole experience as the audience are, and it is a really reciprocal 90 minutes, I think, and it's lovely, and I think people get a lot out of that.
And you can see every individual audience member's face, with their mask, of course, and you can see everybody's reaction, and you can have that moment of rapport with everybody that sometimes you would only get with the front row, with your day seats, because they're the only ones that you can see, and everyone else is out there in the dark, as they say in Sunset Boulevard. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be able to have that rapport with an audience.
And what did you have other work? I knew you were away on tour, weren't you?
I was very lucky. Yes, I was away on tour with Book of Mormon, and we were mid Birmingham when we closed. We're hoping to go back at some point. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
You will. It will happen.
Yeah, I'm
being
hopeful. I think
positive.
most of the industry will eventually bounce back.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of worry right now about how we are entering a recession. But the previous recession we had, theatre didn't suffer because people need the arts and people need to smile, and this is proof of that.
Well, this sold out before you'd even opened, didn't it?
Well,
And then you
yeah,
added more
it did.
guests.
Yeah.
And even those have all begun to sell.
I think people always need a bit of escapism
Yeah.
and need a smile, really.
Yeah, and then once the word gets out, as it does with any theatre, once the word of mouth gets out, more people book. But also, once the word gets out that people go, I felt safe,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed the environment, and that's a really big thing at the moment. And we are, I'm certainly glad that people feel safe with the measures that have been put in.
Absolutely.
And have you had any work cancelled or coming up with? Were you going to do Panto again?
So I was booked for Panto season. At the moment, still waiting to hear about that. Of course, we've seen closures by a lot of companies, and that's really upsetting. I do believe it's a decimation of our industry, and a lot of people, and very rightly so, are feeling very left behind by the government. And Panto is one of those seasons that brings in so much money for venues, regional venues, London venues. It brings in so much money that it means they can run for the rest of the year, and that they can have other maybe artistic things come in that they go, okay, well that might not appeal to everyone in our area, but it will appeal to some, so we want to put it on. But the money is there as the backstop to allow those projects of love to go ahead. And with Pantos being cancelled all over the place, I think, especially in my eyes, I think the government maybe don't necessarily realise how damning that is. And as this happened, I was working front of house at the time at the glorious Dominion Theatre with Prince of Egypt, and I'm really hoping that will come back. The producers, from what I've heard, the producers of that show and the venue that I've been liaising with have been wonderful, and everything seems positive too. We will come back and it will happen. They just need the timeline. We need to know when.
And let's talk a little bit about drag. So you're no stranger to this, having been in Kinky Boots.
I'm not, no.
Was Kinky your first job out of college?
It was. I actually booked the job while I was still at college, which was...
As you do.
As
You
you do.
GSA boys.
Oh, well, I'm very, very lucky. And what's amazing as well is if you asked anyone I trained with, they would all say, oh yeah, Jed wants to be in Kinky Boots, that's all he wants. So to just kind of have that handed to me was like, oh great, perfect, brilliant.
See your lines and your moves, you're like, yeah, you can tell you've been on that stage.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. I
And
don't
your
know
makeup
about
as
that.
well.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And
Like, have you had
Kane's.
to teach Kane?
Well, yeah. So Kane's never done drag before.
No.
No, not. I wouldn't say in a, sort of professional capacity, etc. There was a little bit in Club Tropicana, but it wasn't.
Oh,
It wasn't
was
dragged
there?
out. There
Yeah.
was,
Oh.
but it was a quick change. You know what I mean? It's stick the lipstick on, rough it up a bit. But Jed has been it's so wonderful to work with on this, and I'm so grateful. He has been my makeup guru, and I've got he bought in a load of brushes, and was like, right, you use this one for that, this one for this. And the first time we did it, he took me through every stage of doing the makeup, and I'm so grateful for that.
But now, like, we're only how many shows? We're a week in, and you are a dab hand. And honestly, if I improved as quickly as Kane did when I first started doing any kind of makeup, I'd be onto a winner. Like, yeah, you didn't like your makeup yesterday that much, but I think it was absolutely sensational.
Thank you.
What was your angel's name?
My angel's name was Wilma Ballsdrop.
Very
She's
good.
a classy lady.
Very
Have you picked
good.
a name for yourself, yeah?
No.
I suppose you're still
No,
in
I
character
haven't.
here.
These are in characters here. So the makeup, especially for me, I think is very much Fanny and Stella.
Yeah.
Very much, it's the oh goodness, what steampunk? That's the term. It's very much the steampunk vibe, And we've tried to cross that over with a little bit of the modern drag makeup elements, but also bearing in mind that it was, they were Victorian, and we can't necessarily
So we're not gluing down our brows on this one.
No, which saves a lot of time.
It does.
It does.
But the costumes are fantastic as well.
They are. David Shields, our designer, who designed the set and the costumes, has done an amazing job, and under really odd circumstances, because makers aren't available, warehouses where you would usually source costumes aren't available, there are no set construction companies available, and he's just pulled it all together amazingly.
It's wonderful, really, really wonderful, and I love our costumes.
Yeah, me too.
I think they're fab, and I agree with everything you said. I needn't say any more because they're wonderful.
And for both of you, having done these big tours to these big venues, how does it feel to come back and be set? I mean, you've done the Union, so that was an intimate space.
Yeah. I think there is something in these kind of venues that you can't get in those big venues. In the same way that, playing a sold-out Edinburgh Playhouse and having 3,200, however many it is, people on their feet with a standing ovation. You can't, you can't get that in many theatres. And what this venue does, as I said, is it brings intimacy, and you feel a connection with the audience. And it's lovely when, you have people in, and you might be able to spot them a little bit. And it's also lovely when you don't know people and you think, I've really connected with you.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Well, that's the thing for me, having played the big houses, darling. I joke, I jest. But going from two large scale shows where you go out on stage and you're performing to basically a big black wall, it's wonderful, but you don't see anyone. So actually, for me, walking in on stage here on the first performance was kind of daunting, because you can see everyone, you can see everyone's thought process, you can see everything that's happening, and that started out really daunting. And as you say, it brings people in, and you do make connections with individual audience members and hopefully the entire audience. And I love it.
And how has the backstage banter been? Because I know you Book of Mormon boys are like.
Oh, very naughty.
Alex
Very
Dodge,
naughty.
who is the worst.
Well, he's awful, isn't he? He's very awful.
Oh, he's a lucky. I love him. I love him to bits.
It's rare, I think, that you'll ever find a cast that not only gets on so well, but is so respectful of each other. Because we put this show on under a lot of pressure to get it up and going in a short amount of time, and it's been wonderful, hasn't it? Everyone knows what each other needs, and especially when we were in the rehearsal room running it 5 days into learning it, we'd dry up and we'd help each other out, and we'd make it happen. And that's been the case the whole way through. So not only are they supremely talented, but they're just lovely.
Yeah,
They're
and
just a nice group.
it's been such a collaborative process, and I really mean that. It's been everyone helping each other out. Jed with my makeup, and if people had ideas for a scene or a number, or once we got into the space, things change, and we were solving problems, and everything just felt so easy, and like we were with a group of friends, and that is fab. And some of us knew each other before, and some of us had never met each other before. And
I mean, we were FaceTiming the week before rehearsals, weren't we?
We were.
Like, trying to work out how it would work, and
that was the first time that Jed and I had. I mean, we may have met at a stage door before, still working this out. Kinky Boots stage door, I think. But that was the first time we'd really met, was doing that over FaceTime, and that was something that was very new in this world as well. Running our lines on that. The wonderful Alex Lodge and I trained together, and this is the first time that we've worked together since. And so that's a wonderful thing as well, because sometimes you think, I'll never get to work with my friends.
Because you were part of that famous year that did Evita.
We were the
Evita
Evita year.
Brand new theatre.
Yes, and I was Liza McGaldy, as we called me. I had this costume, and I came out of the costume fitting, and it was this sort of red satin shirt, but it had these big sort of underarm sleeve wings on it. And I remember coming out of the costume fitting and going to my friend Alex and other friends and saying, wait until you see the costume, I look like Liza McGaldy. And I came out for that first tech, and honestly, it was hilarious. It was like Liza Does the Palace. Brilliant, but wonderful show.
Yeah. Well, Molly got praised for being, according to Angelo Greb himself,
Yeah.
the best sang through Ava Peron he's ever heard.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
high praise.
Exactly.
that was really high praise, and we got a lot of coverage on that.
Yeah.
The brand new Lloyd Webber Theatre had just opened, and it felt like one of those events where anyone was there, and we were just drama school.
I wasn't there.
You know, you weren't. She wasn't there, and of course that was a great loss. But it was one of those things. We were just in drama school, and we had Molly, who was fantastic. There was another Ava. A few of the cast were Ollie Dobson was Shay. Yeah, a few of the cast were double cast. So we also had a wonderful girl called Katie Shearman, who went on to play Ava on tour as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a year of arts ed grads that have gone on to do wonderful things.
Yourself included.
And here we are. Here we are. I'm very happy to be here.
And there's another common. You both did Sound of Music. Different tours of
We
it.
haven't actually discussed this.
What?
You were a
Yeah.
child though, weren't you?
I was a child.
I see.
I was in the really useful group tour of the Sound of
Is
Music.
this when you show my age? And I was Mother Abbess. In 1983.
Max Zeller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Friedrich when I was 13, 14.
Oh, was Lewis Cornway in that as well?
Lewis Cornet.
Yeah.
So Lewis Cornet is now one of my best mates.
I know.
We trained together, and I recently discovered he was on the poster for our tour. Yeah. So he did the Palladium production.
Right.
Yeah. But we then we both played
That's
Mormons.
funny,
We played
though. You're both
Twins
in
at drama
Mormons now.
school.
You both
We
went-
just can't get enough of each other. We just love each other so much.
That's lovely though.
It is, and he's an amazing person. He's one of those people throughout lockdown he's written a whole musical
A visual
pitch,
EP,
and it was a visual EP, and it was amazing.
So
And
this is Snowflake.
this was Snowflake, of which I had a very small cameo of about 10 seconds.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm going to put it on my spotlight.
Oh.
And
I went to Cambridge University, not being funny, got a first in English literature. Now I have no money. Don't look at me, please look at me. Oh no, I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm disgusting, you pervert, you blanker, you closeted wanker. It's the whole day I like days, I wish I went gay day today.
yeah, Lewis is one of lots of people who are just doing amazing things throughout lockdown, and good on them.
I think you have been busy. You did raise
Well, yeah, I
that
guess.
little what's
Yes.
that?
Yeah,
Charity
yeah, so I did.
event.
So,
Talk us about that because that was huge.
well, yeah, it's
I
not.
didn't intend to be.
No,
but
it really wasn't my intention. So, it was really near the start of lockdown, and I
So it
was
raised
like,
you
right,
up.
let's do something fun. Let's get these angels together. Everyone misses Kinky Boots. I miss Kinky Boots. And so I got in touch with Jerry, and Jerry's amazing with all of his cast members anyway. And I was like, look, I would really love to do this. I'd love to do it for charity. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, great. Whatever you want, I'm there to help out in whatever you need. And so we basically contacted every angel worldwide ever. And I was like, maybe we'll have like 10, 20 people, it'll be a little half an hour thing. And we got 60 responses. And so I just got back. And then Jay Harrison G had heard about it, and then he got involved, and then we got all the other Lolas involved, and it just became a huge thing. And then the death of George Floyd obviously triggered some big political learning for us all. You know, we took the time to stop and listen, and we sort of re-geared how we would approach the cabaret to make sure that it benefited out lots of our black performers that are, because they're an integral part of the cast of Kinky Boots and the industry as a whole, and we really wanted to honour that and use our platform appropriately. And so we then re-geared our donations, so not just to Acting for Others and Broadway Cares, but then also to the Black Ticket Project and the Broadway Advocacy Coalition. And it became a big old thing, and we had thousands of viewers, and I
Do you know
wasn't
how
quite
much you made?
expecting it, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a really uplifting experience to connect with all these people that we had so much in common with that I'd never met, and it was wonderful.
I want your wit in the shade. When I say jump, say how high. You know you're doing it right. When you start to cry, if you don't look like you should, you got to whip it good. Like prison ladies, no escape till you went in the shade.
night, and then
Which is a 24-hour
yeah.
thing. And that's it.
Are you going to do an encore?
Oh, I'm
Anybody?
I'm busy doing
An
Fanny and
encore.
Stella. You don't have time to do that. Well, I've not thought about that, but now you're getting the cogs whirring now. We'll see. I mean, yeah, it was overwhelmingly wonderful success. So who knows? Depends how long lockdown goes on for, I guess. If it goes on for another year, then yeah, we'll have Raise You Up 2.0. But yeah, we'll see.
It's good.
And what have you been doing in lockdown? How have you been handling it?
Well, I mean, I went on a big kind of fitness drive. I did one of those. I know. I did. So just before it started, I'd kind of got an online personal
You can
trainer. Can you?
Can through that, yeah.
Oh.
Of course, it.
Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you. Thrilled.
We'll get your tip later.
I asked you to put that one in. And then I ended up doing sort of a home workout one as well. So I enjoyed doing that. I focused a little bit more on sort of looking after myself and trying to think about what was going to help me through it. Creatively, it was kind of doing the admin side of our business, really, which was finding new repertoire songs, singing through a few songs here and there. But also, and I think a lot of creative people have felt this, it's also been nice for some days and maybe some weeks just to take a step back and go, do you know what? Usually in my life I'm doing this every day, whether it's focusing on an audition or a show or something, that sometimes it's nice to sit back and go, I'm just going to enjoy the company of my family today.
Yeah.
And I think that allowed a slight positive to come out of this, is that it allowed us to go, well, I haven't got that fear of missing out on something. You know, there isn't, oh, well, I really want to be seen for that show and I'm not in for it. So maybe let's enjoy some of that and split our time a bit more evenly between working on our business side and also working on ourselves, our personal mental health, and our family and our friends over FaceTime quizzes. Who wasn't quizzing? You know, everyone's going to be on eggheads by the end of this, or The Chase or something like that. You know, I'll be thrilled if I never see another quiz for the next year, to be honest. Yeah.
And I hope you won't mind me sharing this, but you did tell me a few weeks ago that throughout lockdown you'd found it stifling at points to see other people doing creative things or doing a concert or whatever, and that was a very small minority of our industry, all incredibly talented and well deserving.
Yeah.
And you shared that there was a time where you felt a bit lost in your own industry for once,
Yeah.
and it sounds like what you did was actually took some time for yourself and gone, okay, well, this is the industry I love and I adore, it's on hold right now, and I'm going to take some time for me. And I think the rest of our industry could learn a lot from that. And you know,
well, thank you. I feel like it was a time, and it still is a time, to acknowledge how you can look after yourself and how you feel about something. And some people are doing incredible things, and you know, posting videos singing the most incredible songs and doing the most incredible concerts and stuff like that. And at that moment in time, that just wasn't for me. And I think what I found was that it took me a little bit of time to go, that's okay. I'm not feeling like I can do that at the moment because I'm feeling, you know, this way, or maybe I'm feeling a bit down, or maybe I'm not feeling as creative. And it took me a little bit of time to go, that is okay, and let's celebrate those people that can do that. And then at some point I'll be able to get back into that. And I was very lucky that this show came up at a point where I was certainly thinking, I don't know when this industry is going to return. Should I find something else permanently?
Yeah.
And I don't mind sharing that I was definitely thinking, am I being silly thinking that I'll work again anytime soon?
And I think that goes for not just the industry of performers, but just our industry as a whole. I think a lot of people are feeling that way, and thanks for sharing that. And also, I think that's also kind of why this show is so special. Of course, we're the very lucky, very few people that get to perform, and we do not take that for granted, and we are aware that actually we are representing the industry as a whole right now, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's move on to your creative team. So you've worked with Nick Winston how many times?
Oh, this is our third show. Oh, fourth show. This is our
Yeah.
fourth show because I did panto with Nick way back in the
Yeah.
day. I did Cinderella with him in Hastings before I went and trained. So I was an ensemble dancer then, and then we did Club Tropicana,
Yeah.
and then we did the panto at Cheltenham, and now we're here. And what a blessing it is every time to work
You've
with
obviously got
Nick.
rapport with him, but how's he found the challenge of moderating how he directs people who are socially distanced and him having to socially
Yeah.
distance?
I think we certainly had those moments in the rehearsal room where, whether it was us, whether it was creative team, where we felt the impulse, as you do as actors and creative, to go, okay, well now you two, I don't know, I'm going to make something up here, but now you two hold hands and skip off into that corner, and you go, oh wait,
Can't
hang
do
on,
that.
actually no, you can't do that, and those were the challenges that we came up against. But when you watch the show, and I think this is the great testament to Nick, to Stephen Dexter,
Yeah.
director, is that it's socially distant, but it's not overly sort of noticeable. However, I can guarantee if anyone went up to someone and put their arm around someone, you'd notice it straight away. And it's one of those things where the piece works so well that it almost kind of slips into the background that you forget, apart from maybe there's a scene where someone's over that side of the stage and someone's over that side of the stage. It's not as we used to perform, but it's the new normal. The new normal.
And they're both geniuses, both Stephen and Nick.
Oh,
They
I was
are
about
both
to ask, have you worked with him?
Amazing.
neither.
Neither.
So it's been a real treat for me.
Yeah.
And it's been a treat to be really creative as well. And sort
And
of,
did you start the rehearsal process offline on Zoom between? You said
the
This
two
is
of
between
us were
us.
just learning
Yeah.
our lines together, kind of just understanding how we might bounce off each other, and just getting to
Yeah.
know each other as well.
Yeah.
And it's been a really liberating experience, just to kind of within all these boundaries of what we can and can't do, to go, right, well, let's just make it great then. And that's that's entirely down to Stephen and Nick, really, because they have just got the vision, haven't they? They're just incredible.
Yeah,
They're
and
awesome.
what really works as well for this piece is the fact that, yes, it's set in Victorian England, but there are other elements that bring it into the modern world. We've already spoken about the costumes, the steampunk, in terms of the choreography with
Yeah.
Nick. There's so many different styles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Fosse, which Nick does so well, and we're all living for
Well,
that.
and that's his.
Like-
That's how he was as a performer. He was in
Exactly.
Chicago. He was in Fosse. He is like a dab hand.
Yeah,
The old
and
Fosse.
we're living for that. There's bits of sort of Hello Dolly style, that Broadway Jerry Herman, which is what I live
feathers
for.
in there.
Oh, there's feathers, you've got. It's just there's bits of everything, and it's showbiz, and also has a great story to tell.
And do you think that's why it was chosen? Because they obviously the guys looked at what they've worked on before and thought about what do we need right now, and this show to me seems to fit.
Joy.
perfectly. Yeah.
I think people need joy and a bit of escapism, and yes, a poignant story, but that's not to detract from what is just an entertaining, naughty, fun night at the theatre.
Yeah.
I think that's what people need. It seems that people are enjoying it, so
Exactly, and you've hit the nail on the head there. And also, a cast of 6. There's a lot of multi-rolling that goes on in this show, and everyone sort of thrives on that. As actors, there's so many different characters to be taking on, and everything you've said, Jed, it's joyous, it's wonderful, and it's uplifting. It's what we need.
Amazing. Well done, boys. Honestly, cracking show. I've really enjoyed it.
thank you for coming.
Exactly. Thank you for coming to support us and
Yeah.
theatre in general.
Absolutely.
What this is about.
And yet, we'll be releasing more dates. I hear there's a few more being released already.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Stay tuned for that. Very exciting.
Well done.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow.